Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to BEI Live, the Black Entrepreneurs Institute show. And I am your host, Angela Hooper-Menifield, co-founder, one of the four co-founders of the Black Entrepreneurs Institute. And so tonight is the second Tuesday of the month of November. And so, for those of you who watch our show with regularity, you know that means tonight is all about one of the founders. And fortunately for me, that means it's the Angela Hooper-Menifield show. So, before I jump into tonight's show, on behalf of my co-founders, Damian Johnson, Dr. Nicole Rankin, and Cedric LaFleur, I just want to welcome everyone and thank you again for being such a faithful viewer of our weekly show. Now, let's get all the housekeeping out of the way. So first, I just want to say, encourage you guys to continue to stay tuned, like and share the Empowered Living community page, because here's what I know. As a person who spends a decent amount of time on social media, not a whole lot, I have found quality, valuable content here on the Empowered Living Network, as we call it. And so we want you guys to dive in because there's content for young people, content for entrepreneurs, such as this show, but also a lot of content about your growth and just various shows, empowered women, excuse me. So make sure you like and share. Now, for those of you who have never watched the Black Entrepreneurs Institute show, we want to welcome you, and I want to encourage you to start a watch party, like and share and comment. Here's what we know about Facebook, right? It's all about the algorithms. And so when you actually air live content from your page, Facebook recognizes that. And some of you may say, well, Angela, I don't have live content. That's okay. Use ours as a way to increase the traffic on your personal Facebook or your business Facebook pages. So now to tonight's show. So if you guys, again, have been following, and if not, that's fine because the shows are all archived here. But what you have probably come to realize is on the second Tuesday of the month, one of the BEI co-founders takes some time to really just help the audience kind of get to know us better, our specialty, and then share ways that we want to add value. So again, tonight is an opportunity for me to do that. So what I hope to be able to do is a few things tonight. So let's just set the agenda. One of the things I want to do is help you get to know a little bit more about me, but also my passion and why I actually became an entrepreneur and what's the space that I really serve most diligently in. But then also, I want to give you an opportunity to not only grow in this space, but help those you serve as well. And so I say, let's get started. And so tonight, this is the BEI show, and it's featuring myself again, Angela Hooper-Menifield. So now some of you may be wondering, who is Angela? Because you've only met me in this forum, or perhaps we're friends on Facebook. So I thought it would be really important to start off to tell you a little bit about myself and my background. And so for the last 4 years, 5 years actually, 4 years full time, I have been the Chief Equipping Officer of Menifield and Associates. And we operate off of the premise that leadership is executed at every level for every sector. Now, the reason why that was important to me is because so often in doing leadership development and other trainings, what I found was, depending on what the position or the title was, often people would tell me they weren't a leader. And what we know about leadership is this: it's influence. Now, who amongst us does not have influence, right? So by adding that as my tagline, leadership at every level for every sector. So again, that's public, private, for-profit, nonprofit, We wanted everybody to know that leadership was within your grasp. Now, I'm also founder of the Best Supervisor Academy and Symposium. Now, BEST is an acronym, and BEST is an acronym or an acrostic for Building and Equipping Supervisors and Teams. And this, excuse me, and this is a platform that I created specifically to help supervisors. And this we'll talk about a little bit more tonight. But inherently, it was about the fact that so often now in society, we talk so much about leadership, which is important. Again, I'm a leadership coach. But what I also know is supervision is important. And if we don't figure out when we should be leading versus supervising and vice versa, we could find ourselves in a dilemma. And so metrics matter, counting widgets matter, performance, attendance, discipline, all of that is supervision. And so by building and creating this platform, I'm able to help people in that way. Now, of course, Black Entrepreneurs Institute, I'm one of the co-founders. This is a newer business venture for me. About a year ago, I reached out to my business partners and we talked about how can we add value. And again, we want everybody to know we are for all business and for all entrepreneurs. But what we know is a community is currently underserved, and that's the community of minority business owners. So I'm also one of the co-founders of the Black Entrepreneurs Institute. Now, what you may not know about me is I'm also a weekly radio show host on the IBGR network, that's International Business Growth Radio, Profit Radio, and I host a regular radio show titled The People Side of Business. And that gives me an opportunity, again, to help business owners with the people stuff, the performance metrics, autonomy, teamwork, and things like that. So that airs every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I just thought about it, put the wrong meme up, but it's 2 p.m. And I would love to have you join me at ibgr.network. And then over the last month plus, I have started a new podcast with another business partner of mine, Robin K. Butler, and it's titled The Pulse of HR. And it's partly because, again, as an HR consultant, we believe that HR, or human resources, is really the heart of every organization. And so we started a podcast. And it has two prongs. One is to help those interested in HR. And then the second prong is, of course, to help those without HR departments. So that's my business ventures. Now, I won't go into all of these, but I've been around the block a few times when it comes to personal growth, behavioral assessments, other certifications. And so the work that I do and the way that I serve my clients is founded on all the knowledge and education that I have earned through the years. And so this is just a glimpse of that. Since I've been a business owner, I've had the opportunity to work with a ton of entities, some names you may recognize and some not. Public sector is one of the places I enjoy a lot, predominantly because I spent 28 and a half years in the federal government. And so I know the pain points. I understand what it's like to be a public servant, because often we're the ones who don't feel valued or appreciated. And so again, I'm able to speak to those pain points, but I work with for-profit entities, nonprofits. I love what I do. And so this, again, is just a glimpse of some of the places I've been able to add value and help supervisors grow. And so now you may say, well, how do I do what I do? Well, I coach, I speak, I train, and I'm also a certified human behavioral consultant. And so DISC behavioral assessments are part of the work that I offer and that I do. Now, I couldn't tell you about me without telling you just a little bit about me on the personal side. And so I am the wife of Dean Charles Menifield. He's a dean at Rutgers University. I am the proud mother of Amber Renee, who is in that middle picture. We have two grandsons, DeAndre and Jameson. They are 10 and 6. And our other daughter, Tiffany, is not pictured there, their mom. And then that picture to the far, I guess it would be left for you guys, is actually a picture from my retirement when I retired from the federal government. And it was my mom, dad, my husband, and my oldest grandson. And most of you know I lost my dad this summer. So one of my favorite pictures. And so I thought I'd just kind of tell you about that. But that's my family and that's who I am. All right, so now let me talk a little bit about my experience, because you may be wondering, well, why should we listen to what Angela has to say about supervisors and how that can impact what they do? Well, I have personally supervised directly or indirectly about 3,500 to 4,000 people. So I have a vast experience in supervision, and I have coached and trained thousands of supervisors because once I got into this space, even when it wasn't my job, I began to try to help people do this better. Again, a couple of HR certifications. I'm also an HR instructor. So understanding what it takes to really lead your team in a structured way that supervision is, or oversight way, I have a lot of experience in it. And then I've been supervising myself for over 30 years. And another thing I thought it was important for you to know about me is for about 12 years in the federal government, I actually served as a selecting official. So why is that important? I tell you that because that means I was the person making the decision about who became a supervisor. So again, understanding those qualities and some of the pitfalls is something I became very familiar with. And then I've interviewed and hired hundreds, again, in supervisory capacities, managers, and leaders. And so when we think about supervision, many of you may say, well, okay, Angela, so what's the problem? Well, the pain point is this. Often when we get to the point that we have to lead and manage others, it's actually an exciting feeling, right? I mean, think about it. You're saying to yourself, oh my gosh, my business has grown. So as a result of that, as an entrepreneur or small business owner, I now need to hire people. Well, by needing to do that, guess what happened? You became a supervisor. Or perhaps you're working in an organization, and because of your technical expertise and how well you do your job, someone says, you know what, we should promote this person, and you become a supervisor. And so what started as something so amazing and awesome, guess what? It can often turn into something that's misery or regret, or, I literally just got off the phone with a young millennial that I work with and coach, and she's upset because she's like, I don't like my team anymore. And I keep reminding her, it's not your team. It's just that you weren't equipped. They promoted you without giving you the tools and resources. I also know many of you out here in the empowered living community, what you do for a living is you coach, you train, you work within organizations. And I bet you find the same thing. Put a comment in the chat and let us know, like, what are some of the experiences your clients are dealing with when it comes to managing people? And I bet that doing so now under COVID is even more challenging. And so again, too often we're promoting people with great intentions because they're so technically sound. But the problem is we're not equipping them or giving them the tools. And some people call that soft skills. Now, I quite don't know how that phrase got to be. I realize it's not a technical skill, but there's nothing soft about supervising people. You got to have some thick skin, right? And so then not only does the supervisor ultimately sometimes begin to resent and dislike their team, the sentiment is returned, right? Teams can't stand their supervisors. Like, I remember being an employee, and we would sometimes, and I'm just full disclosure, sit around and talk about our supervisor. We're like, oh my gosh, this guy. And everybody always thought that they could do it better than the supervisor. It wasn't until I became a supervisor myself that I realized, while this person may not have been the best supervisor, there was truly more to their job than I understood. And so then what happens is the incompetence or the lack of equipping, we can call it whatever we choose, leads to things like grievances, complaints, and often affects the bottom line because even if you're not guilty of something wrong, you have to spend the money and the time to defend yourself. It's also very stressful. And then if there is a wrong, whether it was intentional or not, and one of our BEI graduates asked the question on his Facebook page yesterday about the difference between impact and intent, Kenrick. And, our intent could be good, but the impact, not so much. So it affects the bottom line. And then over time, again, we don't like what we do and why we do it. And I think about it often and I say to myself, well, if we're going to work anyway, shouldn't we like what we're doing? So how can I make it better for those who are struggling? And so again, I don't say this from a lens of not having struggled. When I became a regional office manager, this was in 2000, so about 20 years ago. I had the responsibility of running an office for the first time, and it was a huge responsibility. I had about 400 employees in this particular position. And to my dismay, I ran in there, I was, I'm in charge and I'm the new sheriff in town kind of attitude. And so I started making all these heavy-handed changes to policies. And the first day I got there, I'm having this all-employee meeting because I'm, going to lay the hammer down. Well, to my dismay, also on that first day, one of my employees made us complain to the Civil Rights Office that I was discriminating against them. And so my boss comes over, the person who hired me, and he says, Angela, I think you've made a record. And I said, what do you mean? He said, I don't know that I've ever, and I've been here for 30 years, known someone to get a civil rights or EEO complaint on the first day on the job. Guys, I was shocked. I was like, what? Now, what I had done did not warrant a civil rights complaint, and it was dismissed. That's really not the point of the story. The point of the story is, like so many people, I wasn't equipped. Like, I just came in there and didn't take the time to really figure out how to build rapport and relationship and begin to, exercise power and authority. And people will push back. And so if we can save people some of that angst and some of that heartburn, then we should try to do it. And that's what the work that I do is designed to do. Now, we've heard the saying before, right? Everybody's heard it. People say it all the time, and it's really true. And we have, sourced material. It's not opinions. Forbes Magazine, 2015, LinkedIn, 2017, and Harvard Business Review, 2018. But the message is still the same. People quit leaders, supervisors, bosses, fill in the blank. They don't quit jobs, right? And so my question for you is this: are you or your team the reason people leave your organization? Or if you, again, are in that coaching, training, speaking space, do you serve managers and supervisors who have lost their zest for their team? Because guess what? When the struggle is real, right? Again, I say it all the time, this is not for the weak and weary. So we have to figure out, how do we support our managers? So let me ask you a few questions, and you can either think about this in the context of yourself or in the context of clients that you serve. Were you, or perhaps one of your clients, promoted to lead others as a result, again, of technical expertise? Because you're the best accountant, you're the best recruiter, you're the best CPA, you're the best IT person. If you answered yes to that, just pin that there. Have you become accountable for the work or actions of former peers? Now, this is always challenging, right? Because think about it. These were people who you used to work with side by side, peer-to-peer, goofed off together, went to lunch together. Now you're their supervisor, different dynamic. Often too in small businesses, we tend to hire relatives a lot, right? Think about the small business arrangements that you're familiar with. More times than not, more than one family member works there. How is that dynamic professionally managed? That we're maintaining the relationship, but also being impartial and unbiased in the workplace. Are you in charge of work or tasks, but you don't supervise those responsible? Now, that is always a little tricky, right? Like you have to put the work together or be responsible for the work, but you don't have any authority of the people over the people. That can be highly frustrating. And then lastly, is your team, not lastly, excuse me, but is your team or organization complacent and not reaching its full potential? Do you look at your team and just wonder, I know they can do better. I know we can do better. Or why am I telling them the same thing all the time? And again, maybe the clients you serve are speaking that to you. Then that's a pain point. And again, have you lost your zeal? You're just like, ugh, it's tired. I hear supervisors say things like, I'm a counselor, I'm parent, I'm doctor, I feel like I'm lawyer, I'm friend, I'm folk. Like I have to wear so many hats. Have you ever used the phrase and said, I spend more time dealing with the people and their problems than the work? Or again, have your clients said that? If you said yes to any of these questions, then what I do and how I serve my clients is perfect for you. So my objective is very simple. I want people to, again, fall in love with leading their team, right? Love to lead, right? One of my favorite sayings is, you're in charge. Now what? Right? Because again, so often we're ready to be elevated. We want to be promoted. So we get the promotion. A lot of us go into it for the money because oftentimes supervisors make more money than the people they report to. But how many times have you also thought, they don't pay me enough, right? So I want you to, again, love your team, love to lead, love to supervise. And that's how we want to help you. So whether or not you embark upon any of the services that I offer, I need to leave you with some core things that you can begin doing today to help you once again embrace your team and your organization. So for most, we have to remember, why did we start to serve this organization? Because in actuality, leadership and being a supervisor, you're serving the organization. You're taking responsibility. You are saying, I want to play a vital role in how I help this organization succeed, carry out its mission and its purpose. So tap back into that. Ask yourself, why did you want this position? And again, if you took it for money, then say that and be transparent with yourself, but also know that money doesn't always bring us satisfaction. Now, I like money as much as the next person, but really tap into why and remember you decided to do this. The other thing that everybody needs to do in order to, again, not feel so weighed down by leading, managing, and supervising is begin to see the value in our team members again, right? Because here's the truth of the matter. Everybody brings value. Everybody is valuable. Now, some of you are thinking right now, and I know you are, Angela, I didn't pick this team. I inherited them. Guess what? They are a hot mess. Well, here's the deal. I don't dispute that. That still doesn't mean that they don't bring value, and it doesn't mean that they're not valuable, right? Maybe they've had a bum rap. Maybe the prior supervisor didn't manage it. I mean, there's a reason why you're in the job right now. One of my favorite sayings, and I'll say it here to you guys, is if you find yourself in one of those situations, it doesn't mean you have to stay in it. Sit down, talk with your team, which is, a later bullet about communication, but be clear about how things will be moving forward. I love to call this meeting the draw the line in the sand meeting. And while I don't have at my command right now to walk you through all these phases and what they actually mean, this is what I can tell you. The ability to have that type of meeting with your team is transformational. I need you to hear me like really, really good. So I'm going to say this again. The ability to have the line in the sand meeting with your team is transformational. Just because you inherited a team of craziness and nonsense, it doesn't mean it has to stay that way. It's not impossible to improve it. So I need you to take me at my word. I've done it tons of times, and I have trained managers how to do it as well. You want to know how to make this clear and hold people accountable. All right. Now, the other thing we want to do is remember the reason why we want to focus on what the value that people bring is because where our focus goes, our energy flows, right? We've all heard that, right? If we're in the growth space, everybody's heard that. Like if you focus on what's wrong in the relationships, all you'll see what's wrong. But if you focus on what's right, you'll begin to see more of that. Now, I'm not saying your team isn't doing anything wrong or the teams you work with, but what I am saying is they're doing something right as well, right? Focus on that, build upon it. And when you begin to treat people in that way and respond to it positively, they want more of that positive reinforcement. So it'll encourage them to do more of the good stuff. Now, communicate effectively. And again, that's a whole module in and of itself because communication is so much. It's connecting, it's communicating, it's clarity, it's the frequency of communication, it's the words that we use, it's how to, give feedback, it's accountable, it's all of that, right? But communicate effectively. But again, I know I don't have time to work you through all the courses and what we do in the Supervisor Academy. But what I will say is this, start somewhere. Just say to yourself, you want to have better relationships. Then you got to lead by example. So guess what? People are watching you. And oftentimes when we're frustrated, we are not as aware that we're not modeling the things we say is important, right? So lead by example. Don't have rules that you don't follow. Be consistent in word and deed. If you tell somebody you're going to do something, do it. If you must come back on that, then just be transparent and say, my apologies. X and Y happened. I'm not able to do that, but let me tell you what I can do. Or perhaps what you do is you just say, I thought I was going to be able to do it, but I'm not. But be transparent. And then again, hold yourself accountable and hold others accountable. Part of the reason we're frustrated is because we really don't do a good job in that space. Now, a lot of people avoid, conflict and things like that, but accountability is not conflict. We've just programmed ourselves to believe that if we tell someone something that we quote unquote think they don't want to hear or may have some difficulty hearing, that it could create conflict. No. Talk to people in love. When you talk to them with their best interest at heart, it's hard to take it any other way. And let people know that you care about them, you care about their productivity, and you care about helping them achieve greater results. So that's a quick synopsis of some things we cover. And again, because you're watching the show, you might find value in just picking something off this list and applying it to you. Now, for those of you who say, Angela, this has already got me thinking about how I can do better, but I really need more help. Well, let me tell you what I've put together as a resource that I know can be a game changer for many of you. So you may be wondering, well, how exactly do I begin to love to lead again? Like, what does that look like? Well, let me just tell you, journaling can help you. Yes, I said journaling can help you. Now, anybody who, again, the EL community, if you've ever listened to Paul's teaching on authentic journaling, you already know where I'm going. And I bet you're in the comments now, chatting it up, saying, yes, 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 journaling. Because journaling is a game changer. It has helped me in ways I never knew it could. So, again, thank you so much, Paul, for introducing me to authentic journaling. But now, some of you may say, Angela, I've never heard of this authentic journaling thing. No worries, I got you, right? So, I'm going to talk to you about how journaling can help you love your team again, enjoy supervising and managing. But now you may be saying, Angela, why journaling? Well, there's plenty of reasons why journaling. So let's just talk about a few. Did you know that Einstein, Leonardo da Vinci, and many great minds have always recommended journaling, right? Journaling is viewed as a life-changing habit. So you don't have to take it from me. You don't even have to take it from Paul Martinelli. Journaling can be a game changer. Now, Jim Rohn, and many of you know who he is, he says, if you're serious about becoming a wealthy, powerful, sophisticated, healthy, influential, cultured, and unique individual, keep a journal. Now think about that. Who wouldn't want to be those things, right? So again, a testament to the value of journaling. Now, Tim Ferriss calls journaling the deloading phase in life. He said he uses this as a tool to clarify his thinking and his goals. He also says the paper that you're journaling on, is like a photography dark room for the mind. Now, what happens in a dark room? Things develop, right? Who doesn't want their mind developed? Journaling can help you do that. Now, Michael Hyatt says, what happens to us is not as important as the meaning we assign to it. Journaling helps sort this out. Now, I have to pause here because recently I actually had a supervisor post in a supervisory group that I'm in and say something about, my supervisor's always asking me these questions and I feel like he or she doubts me. And immediately I tried to help. I was like, we have to think into why you feel that way. Could it be that your supervisor is just inquisitive? So I say that to say, by journaling through that, it will help them sort out the right meaning and understand maybe what's holding them back. On the flip side, some of the things we think about our team, if we journal through them, we might find, again, it's the difference between impact and intent. Now, it also states that what you write, you control, right? And that's important because a lot of times people will say, well, I don't have time to journal. Oh, yeah, you do. But you don't have to write a page, 10 pages. You get to pick and choose, but take 10, 15 minutes every day to journal. But some of you still may be wondering, but I don't know what to journal. So just hold on and I'll help you with that part. Now, the last thing I want to leave you with is the fact that when it comes to journaling, there are so many health benefits to journaling. And they include clarifying your thoughts and your feelings. It helps you know yourself better. Now, who doesn't want to know themselves? You can reduce stress. You can solve problems more effectively and resolve disagreements with others. And think about that. All that can happen simply with just journaling. So these are the many reasons why journaling is so important. So now, let's talk about the journal that I'm talking about because Some of you are thinking, well, you'll just go buy a blank journal tomorrow and you'll start writing in it. Now, I'm not against that, and that is a place to start. But I'm all about intentionality and focus. So when I talk about journaling, I am talking about being specific in what we do. So as a result, I have created a product exactly aimed to help you with this journey. And it's titled The New Supervisor's 30-Day Growth Journal. Now, it says new, and the word new is strategic because some of us are new, as in we've just been promoted, and maybe some of your clients are new. So this would be a great resource for you to support them on their journey. But some of us are just new because even though we've been doing it for some years, we have never gotten the skills. And so don't get caught up on new. But this journal even helps me. And I've been, again, supervising for 30 years. So let me tell you a little bit about it and why it's unique from what you might find in other places. Well, this journal provides, and it's 30 days, because I'm trying to get you into the habit, right? And be strategic. And so we start off with a daily quote, and we have some great quotes for some great leaders, people like John Maxwell and Wallace Wattles, Napoleon Hill, Angela Hooper-Menifield, Paul Martinelli. But in addition to the quotes, and everybody loves positive quotes, right? Just follow Facebook. Like, people are posting leadership quotes every day, all day. But after the quote, this is where I come in and use my coaching, mentoring, and training skills. Each day there's a prompt that helps you think into that day's quote. And so then after the prompt, it gives you an opportunity to write your reflections. How that impacts you. There's a prompt with a question. Then you go through your day. And after that, we want you to come back, and it could be the next day, depending on what time of day you want to journal, or that night. But we want to talk about your wins, right? Like, you were intentional, you read the quote, you read the prompt, and you decided on something that you were going to do. So what was your win? Because everybody gets to get a win, but then you also get a learn, because guess what? This is new to you. Everything's not going to go perfect. It doesn't go perfect for me still. So what did you learn, and how can we grow from that? And then it gives you some ways that you can continue the process, right? There's a saying that 21 days creates a habit. So I'm trying to help you create a habit because, again, it's 30 days. Now, here's an illustration of just a day at random that I grabbed. And so let's just look at that for a minute. This is day 4, and the quote says, "Great bosses see opportunity in instability and uncertainty." It says, during periods of uncertainty, employees and managers can often succumb to stress and anxiety. Before they realize what's happening, their attitude and demeanor can depict negativity and doom. Reflect over a time of uncertainty when your response was not ideal. In hindsight, what might have made that situation better? Then journal ways to proactively respond in the future and craft a plan of action for future reference. And so then you get to write your thoughts, your corrective measures, your plan for future, and then where would this apply? Now think about this. Why is something like this important? We've all looked back over a scenario that we wish we'd handled better. And here's what we know as supervisors and managers. We're going to continue to have these kinds of situations. So we're not going to avoid them. But what we can do is learn from when we didn't handle it as well as we wish we would, and then grow from it. So that's just one of, again, 30 days of prompts, quotes, and opportunities. Now, at the end of every 7 days, I believe in, celebrating, right? Because this is a great accomplishment. So here's an example. So at day 7, it says, "Congratulations on completing your first 7 days of journaling and growth into becoming a better supervisor. While you will always be on the road of growth, be reminded that you are already becoming the best supervisor for someone on your team. Remember that each person you impact is worth the effort. Then it asks us to think about who your favorite boss has been, right? Maybe you've worked for many and you've had some good, the bad, the ugly. And what led you to feel that way? Because as you think into it, it will help you think about what are some of the things you can do to be that for somebody else. Now, some of you have immediately said, you know what, this is something that I really would love to have. Angela, tell me more. Well, our first shipments will actually be out a week from tomorrow, next Wednesday. And so I want to offer, again, our BEI Live community, as well as the Empowered Living community, an opportunity to be, on the pre-sale or get the first copies. So if you go to www.supervisoracademy.com/journal, you will be able to order a journal. Now, let me also put the link here so you can see it scrolling, and it'll be in the comments. But yes, you can order a growth journal. The price for the journal is $14.97, so very reasonable. And I also know it's end of year. Some of you may be looking for some gifts from people that you know and you have relationships with, some of your clients. So it's a great opportunity for you to, again, get a journal. And for, again, this community, you don't have to order them. I'll ship out the first group. Let's just say that. And you can get autographed copies if you want. Now, for some of you who, again, have teams and you want to make this available for everybody on the team, we actually have some team bundles. And also you can, for those of you who really want the opportunity to be able to add value to your communities, I've discounted the price again for this community. So it's 5 journals for $50. So that's a savings of 33% per journal. Again, I have no doubt it's going to add a lot of value to not only yourself, whether you're, again, a business owner adding to your team, you just got your first virtual assistant trying to figure out how to manage them and not lose it. You've been supervising for a long time. You've just lost your zest and zeal. Or you just want to add value and coach your clients through this valuable resource. So as we come to the end, what I want to just convey to you is this. We can help ourselves and we can also help those we serve. But how we do it is, again, by getting better. Now, you'll also see, if you just visit our website at academy.com, you will also see that I've opened up enrollment for the Academy for the next week to tie into this show, because I did not want to offer or to talk about something that wasn't available to this audience. And so we want to support you. So some of you may find that monthly courses, teachings, special guests, templates, and things like that are exactly what you need to help you on your supervisory journey. So again, the website is www.supervisoracademy.com. So here's what I know. There are a lot of people that we know, including us, that need some help in this space. Growth is something that happens every day. And if we really want to get better at supervising people, then we have to be intentional about it. I'm not saying I know everything, but what I am telling you is, between myself and the community that I work in, we have the tools and the resources to help you and yours get better. But again, if you're not ready to commit to a long-term program, that's fine. The journal is what can help you get started right now. And again, buy some for friends, end of year gifts for your clients. Show them that you appreciate them and that you want to help them on the journey. You never know what a gift of a journal to a supervisor that's struggling could do for not only your continued relationship with them, but also for their team. So thank you guys so much for giving me this opportunity tonight to talk a little bit about why I serve in this space and who I serve. For years, again, I promoted people and I felt really bad because I didn't even know what I was doing was putting them in a position to fail. So once I knew better, I started to do better. And I want you to be able to do better as well. So before we go, a couple of announcements. In addition to, of course, enrollment into my program being open, you may recall that our boot camp is open. We are starting our third boot camp the first week of January 5th. We first session on Tuesday, January 5th. And right now, for the month of November, we have a special offer. So again, you can go to the Black Entrepreneurs Institute to get that information, Black Entrepreneur Institute, no.com. Enroll, tell a friend. We have seen people transition into their business, some because of COVID, some involuntarily, some voluntarily. But here's what we know. Entrepreneurship is on the rise, but everybody's not successful. And so who you learn from matters. And I can tell you, when I look at all the things I've been able to accomplish and take on, even since COVID hit, I know a lot of it is because of the teachings that we do in that community and how I apply it, but also because of the people I've surrounded myself with. So if you are looking to really take your business to the next step, I want to encourage you to enroll into the next boot camp. And we only do it once a quarter. Everybody's talking about they want 2020 to be over. Well, guess what? We got about a month and a half and it will be over. So what are you going to do differently in 2021? Still bemoan whatever's happening? Or are you going to take massive action? Step into a community of people who want to serve you and who are equipped to serve you to help you take your business to the next level. The choice is yours, right? And other announcements include, immediately following our show each week, we have our candle lighting on the EO community. So we definitely want you guys to stay tuned for that as well. So again, I hope that I've been able to add some value to you as a viewer to our weekly show. Again, like, share, watch party, help us grow our platform. And also think about some of the places that you've been and you didn't have a positive experience. Those are your perfect candidates to step into and see if you can help. Because it's one thing for us to complain about what's wrong with businesses. It's another thing for us to do our part to help them get better. So again, don't grow alone. Help somebody get better. Gift someone a journal. Or just support me, right? Because I'm out here like everybody else. So get your journal. I'll send you an autographed copy if you want one. If not, you can just get one from the regular store and or Amazon, and it should be listed on there as well in about a week. So again, thank you everybody for watching. This has been the BEI Live Black Entrepreneurs Institute show. I have been your solo host, Angela Hooper-Menifield. Again, hope we've added value. Our replay for tonight's show will air Sunday afternoon at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So again, tell a friend, share, have a watch party. It's been our pleasure to serve you this evening. And thank you again, Cedric, Nicole, and Damien for leading the way and doing such a great job on the months that you all were our featured presenter. And I hope I have served not only our community well, but represented my co-founders well. Take care, everybody, and we will talk to you soon.